Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today for our Efficiency in Vermont Rewiring America's Incentive Calculator webinar. My name is Dan Fingus, and I'm the Climate Action Coordinator for Vermont Natural Resources Council. This is a part of our series of webinars that provide education, tools, and support to local energy leaders. If you have ideas for future webinars, please reach out to me, and I'd love to make sure we're providing the skills and education that you all need. Today's webinar, we are here to discuss this brand new tool to show all the benefits and incentives that are available through the Inflation Reduction Act, bipartisan infrastructure law, and state incentives. We very much want to get the word out about this calculator and, more importantly, the benefits and incentives that are available as widely as possible, and appreciate you being here and working to do that in your communities. Today, we are very lucky to have two knowledgeable and experienced presenters, one from Efficiency Vermont and one from Rewiring America, to introduce you to and run through the incentive calculator. We will be joined today by Matthew Smith, the Public Relations Manager from Efficiency Vermont, and by Amanda Sachs, the State Policy Associate for Rewiring America. Let's jump right in and turn it over to Matthew from Efficiency Vermont.
Thank you, Dan. Appreciate it. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining us here at the webinar today. My name is Matthew Smith, as Dan mentioned, Efficiency Vermont Public Relations Guru. And I'm here to tell you about this exciting calculator that Amanda and her colleagues at Rewiring America have put together. So we're going to introduce you to this calculator, and here's some other things you can expect this webinar. We're going to talk to you about why it's important to electrify, which is what the tool does, helps you electrify your home. We'll talk about using the tool and some of the unique Vermont-specific offers from partners like Efficiency Vermont, partners like weatherization agencies, and partners like utilities will show up in the tool. We'll spend some time on tools and offers that are not in the incentive calculator, but support the electrification goals of the calculator. And we'll finish up by giving you some ways to stay in touch, share the tool, and ask some questions. So if you're not familiar with Efficiency Vermont, who we are, we're a statewide energy efficiency utility. Our goal is to reduce the cost of energy for all Vermonters. And to do that, we work with households, businesses, organizations, and institutions to understand how they're using energy and help them use it more efficiently, more wisely, and through that, reduce greenhouse gas emissions. So before we get started, I just want to say the tool is a great start when you're thinking about how you can electrify your home, how you can make some really important efficiency upgrades. After you familiarize yourself with the tool, I'm going to suggest early and often the next step, which is a free virtual home energy visit from Efficiency Vermont. If you've already done this, great. If you're helping people understand this tool, this is where I would suggest you go next, a virtual home energy visit. It's free. It's on the phone, or it's through a smart device like a phone or a tablet computer. And it's a walkthrough of your home, and you get personalized advice on what you can do first, what you can do big picture, and what's most suitable for your home. So that one-on-one walkthrough is a really great complement to all the information you can get from this calculator tool. You can sign up for a virtual home energy visit on our website. You see the link right there, or you can give us a call at that number. And I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Amanda at Rewiring America here.
My name is Amanda Sachs. Like Dan said, I'm a policy associate with Rewiring America. We are the leading electrification nonprofit, and we have this philosophy that the US needs to electrify everything for everyone. And this comes from the fact that 42% of our energy-related carbon pollution comes from decisions made around the kitchen table, how we heat our homes, the appliances that we use, how we drive. So we can curb climate change significantly, improve public health, and save Americans money on their energy bills if we can incentivize a rapid transition to energy-efficient machines like heat pumps and electric vehicles and induction stoves, while accelerating the transition to renewable energy like solar panels and storage. So we developed the Vermont Incentives Calculator to give households enough information to take advantage of the amazing home upgrade incentives in Vermont that reduce pollution, lower bills, and lower carbon emissions that cause climate change. Matt, I'm going to ask you to go to the next slide. On energy bill savings, the vast majority of homes in Vermont would save a substantial amount of money in energy bill savings if they switched from fuel oil, propane, or electric resistance heating to a medium efficiency heat pump. And these are some stats from our internal tools. Our analysis comes from the National Renewable Energy Laboratory's res stock data, and shows that 98% of homes heating with propane in Vermont would save on their energy bills by switching to medium efficiency heat pumps, an average of over $2,000 in bill savings annually. 97% of homes heating with fuel oil in Vermont would save on their energy bills by switching. It's a little bit less, but it's still a substantial amount of money. And 94% of homes heating with electric resistance heating in Vermont would save on their energy bills by switching to a medium efficiency heat pump, an average of over $1,000 in bill savings annually. So this seems like a very good decision for anyone who's able to make it. And I will pass it back over to Matt.
Thanks, Amanda. Very cool to see that high level view on electrification and what it can mean for savings in Vermont's households. So yeah, as Amanda mentioned, this calculator is a nationwide effort, but our colleagues at Rewiring America have built this tool to specifically show the Vermont-specific offers. And again, these are offers from utilities, from Efficiency Vermont, from the state in the case of something like electric vehicles. So how can you access this tool? It's on Efficiency Vermont's website. The link is right there, efficiencyvermont.com/calculator. This is what you'll see when you visit that link. You can embed the calculator on your website or link to it. We'll get into that more a bit later. But I just want you to kind of see this tool. We're going to run through some examples with it today, and then we're going to talk about some things that are not in the tool, but would be really helpful as you help your friends and neighbors navigate the tool and think about the options that are available to them. So we did launch the tool, the Vermont-specific tool, I should say, on Monday, April 22nd. That was Earth Day. That's a photo from our Earth Day event in the Cedar Creek Room, if you're familiar with the State House. We had a bunch of great speakers there, representatives from Senator Bernie Sanders and Representative Becca Balint's office, Peter Walk with Efficiency Vermont, Natural Resources Secretary Julie Moore, House Speaker Joe Korowinski, an Energy Committee leader, Linda Gray from Norwich, and Amanda was there as well. So it was a great event and got a lot of publicity for this new tool. So here's the tool itself. We'll just kind of run through what you can choose and information you can input in this tool. And by the way, if you have a question while we're going through this, feel free to throw it in the chat. Dan will be kind of collecting some of those and we'll try and answer them as soon as we can. As I'm presenting, I just want to tell you, I can't see the chat, so I'm going to rely on Dan to tell me if some of those questions come in. So here's the tool. First thing you want to do is choose a project. You can choose all 9 categories, everything from solar and home battery to electric vehicles to induction cook stoves. But for today's example, we're just going to go one technology at a time. It's just easier to understand. You'll be able to input your zip code. This is mostly to help find your utility and the rebate that your utility will offer that will show up in the tool. You'll see there's also a place to input your household income. That's really to determine your eligibility for low and moderate income rebates. I'm going to pause here because you're going to hear that a lot in our webinar today. Low and moderate income. That is a calculation of your household income, the number of people who live in your household, and where in Vermont you are. It's actually a different household income level for low or moderate, depending on which county you are in Vermont. So you're going to hear a lot of these offers and rebates that the calculator shows that have really robust offerings for low and moderate income households. And the reasoning there is the low and moderate income households might need some extra support to realize the upfront costs of some of these technologies and upgrades. So I don't want you to get discouraged if you don't fall into low and moderate income. There's still a lot of options that have no bearing on your income that are offered by your utility regardless of how much or how many people are in your home. So you'll hear us emphasize low and moderate income a lot, but there's still a lot of rebates for folks regardless of income. Your tax filing status, you can also enter that into the tool. That's, again, a lot of federal components savings on your taxes, things like that. We're not going to go into that in too much detail today because really that's beyond my expertise with Efficiency Vermont. That's really for a conversation for you and a tax professional, but we will see that in the tool. And just a reminder, your information is not saved in this tool. That's for your security, but it's also just a reminder if you close this tool out or you run it on your computer for a friend, for example, it will not remember your zip code or your tax filing status. You might have to plug it in each time you use the tool. So I'm going to share my screen and run through some examples of this tool in action. But I just want to preface this by saying it's a fairly straightforward calculator, and it's going to be really straightforward for you because you know your household, you know your income, and you know your utility. When I run through some examples here, you're going to see me kind of deliberately mess with that. You're going to see me enter a low income and a moderate income and a higher income. And you won't have to worry about that because it's always going to be the same for you when you use this tool. But what I want to draw your attention to when we run through these different examples is when the calculator gives you a link about a specific rebate, it's really important to click that link and learn the details of what the offer is. There might be income details to be aware of. There might be utility requirements to be aware of. So the calculator is going to give you that big picture snapshot, but it's important to follow those links to make sure you get the details of the offer. So we'll start with 4 examples in this calculator today. We're going to do a pretty straightforward example about weatherization. It's a critical first step, no matter how you're heating your home or what kind of efficiency upgrades you're making. Weatherization is important because you'll use less energy and do things more efficiently in a well-weatherized home. Then we'll go to a slightly more complex example, a heat pump water heater. And then we'll get into the deep end. We'll get into the really complex stuff with heat pumps. That could be its own presentation in and of itself, but we'll show you how to navigate the heat pump offers you see in the tool. So when I share my screen in a second, we're going to do the weatherization example. And what you're going to see are offers for free weatherization for low-income homes. You'll see a pretty significant rebate for low and moderate income homes. And then you'll see a rebate for higher incomes. So that's just kind of a preface of what you will see on when I share my screen here. So let me share my screen and bear with me because I'm juggling a few different screens here. Let me make sure you guys can actually see that. Can everybody see my my browser? Great.
Yep.
I see some
Yes, we can.
heads nodding. Thank you. So this is the live site, Efficiency Vermont's calculator, and we're going to do weatherization. Like I said, you can choose all of these at once, but if you scroll down, you'll see weatherization and efficiency. I'm going to enter my home zip code. I live in Winooski, and Green Mountain Power is my utility. You can see some folks in this zip code might have Burlington Electric, Vermont Gas. For folks who are Vermont Gas customers, it's important to understand you'll have a couple different options. And I'm going to start with a low income, what would be considered a low household income in Chittenden County for my wife and I, married, filing jointly for 2 people. So $60,000. I'm going to hit calculate. And right off the bat, I'm going to see what I just mentioned, that free weatherization offer for low income households. 100% of the costs of an energy audit and weatherization. That's through the state's weatherization assistance programs, and that's free for income eligible households. And then I'm going to see 2 other offers that are worth kind of considering. 75% off the costs of installation up to $4,000, and I'll see 75% of the costs of installation up to $9,500. I don't know about you, but I see which one I would want to go for, right? The one with the $9,500 offer. We're going to visit these sites to kind of learn a bit more about why one might be available to folks and one might not. And then there's some other rebates here, the $100 DIY or do-it-yourself weatherization rebate. That's open to all incomes. That's basically you do 3 projects in your home, send the receipts to Efficiency Vermont, get a $100 rebate. And again, open to all incomes. And you see some tax credits. Like I said, we're not going to go into those in too much detail today. And you see some future discounts expected this year and next. We're not going to go into those because those are not yet live in Vermont. So as I said, the tool will give you that snapshot, big picture. Let's visit this website, figure out what the difference is between the 4,000 and the 9,500. So this is going to take me to Efficiency Vermont's website. This is the kind of rebate page. Every rebate, whether it's weatherization or an electric stove or an electric heat pump, you'll see something like this. So what I'm going to do is scroll down to this area with eligibility. When I click this plus sign, it's going to display some more information. So in this extra information, we can kind of understand those $4,000 or $9,500 rebate offers. So here we can see that $9,500, that's the whole home weatherization rebate for low and moderate income households. Higher incomes are eligible for that $4,000 up to 75% up to $4,000. So when we look back at that calculator, what we're really seeing here, this incentive for 100%, that's the low income offer. The incentive up to 9,500, that's the low and moderate income offer. And higher incomes can get that 75% up to $4,000 back. So that's a quick overview of weatherization. I'm going to go back to our presentation here and kind of give you our summary slide here. All right. So just like I said, that low income option, free weatherization through the state's weatherization assistance programs, those are available to manufactured homes as well. There's that $100 DIY rebate. And if for some reason you don't qualify for that free weatherization, you can qualify for that 75% of your costs up to $9,500 as a low income Vermonter. We'll see the moderate income offer there. Again, $100 DIY rebate, open to everybody. Then that moderate income, 75% up to $9,500. And then the higher income folks, you can see as well, up to $4,000. And again, that's because recognizing the upfront costs for these are higher, the offers are more robust for lower income households. One thing I do want to draw your attention to, you saw this is for my area in Winooski. Vermont Gas was one of the utilities that I was eligible for. They have slightly different programs, and it's a slightly different approximation of rebates based on household income. I don't want to go into the details of the Vermont Gas offers because those are probably best for Vermont Gas to tell you about, but I do know they're fairly comparable. So this you can see right here, it says up to $5,000. That's somewhere in between the $4,000 and $9,500 rebates that Efficiency Vermont is offering. I'm pretty confident if you're low income, Vermont Gas will direct you towards the free weatherization, and I'm pretty confident you'll end up with something very comparable to the Efficiency Vermont offer. So this next offer I want to talk to you about, another example in the calculator, heat pump water heaters. These are ultra efficient electric water heaters that use heat pump technology to create the hot water your household needs for your kitchen, your bathroom, your laundry room. They do have a tank, as you can see in that picture there, but they are substantially different and more advanced than the traditional electric tank water heaters that you may be familiar with. So even if you have one of those traditional tank water heaters, these heat pump hot water heaters are really a great offer and a great technology to consider. And the good news is Efficiency Vermont launched a statewide offer on April 1st for these heat pump water heaters, and the tool reflects that new offer. So I'm going to go back to our tool, and I'm going to do another example. This time I'm going to choose an address in St. Johnsbury, just to show you how it's different depending on where in Vermont you are. And once again, we're going to look at low income, moderate income, and higher income examples. So bear with me again as I share my screen. We are back in the tool here. I'm going to deselect weatherization, and I'm going to go for water heater. I'm going to enter a St. Johnsbury area zip code. Let's do 05819. You can see it recognizes the utility as Green Mountain Power. There's also some folks in that zip code who presumably use Linden Electric, but I'm going to stay with Green Mountain Power. Green Mountain Power serves about 75% of Vermont households, so it makes sense to use them as this example. And again, we'll start with a low income offer for a married couple filing jointly, and I'll hit calculate and we'll see what's available. So that robust offer I just mentioned, 100% of the cost of a heat pump water heater up to $5,000, that shows up.
Matthew,
Yes, Dan.
do you want to be sharing the actual calculator screen?
I'm not.
You're sharing the presentation right now.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, this is what happens when you're toggling with so many different screens. Thank you, Dan, for catching that. So real quick, I put in my zip code for St. Johnsbury, Green Mountain Power, $60,000 household income for a married couple of two. And you'll see that 100% of the costs of a heat pump hot water heater up to $5,000. That's through Efficiency Vermont. And it's a really robust offer, and that $5,000 covers the equipment, it covers installation, it covers labor. Not all Efficiency Vermont rebates cover those other costs, but this offer does. So it's a really fantastic offer, up to 100% of those costs. I just want to show you what happens if we tweak that income. Say we put in $80,000. I'll hit calculate. I see a little discrepancy, but we'll double check on the Efficiency Vermont website. No worries. So we have 100% of costs up to $4,500. In fact, and we'll see this on the Efficiency Vermont website in a second, it is 90% of those costs up to $4,500. But still, it's a very robust offer to get those upfront cost barriers down for these heat pump hot water heaters to be installed. And this is a moderate income offer. And let's go ahead and look at a higher income offer, let's say $120,000 annually. Here we see a higher income offer is a $600 rebate for a heat pump hot water heater. And I'm going to visit this website and just kind of show you again, this information is reflected on Efficiency Vermont's website. So we see the most savings available is highlighted right here. And if we scroll down again to eligibility, we'll see this lower income offer is listed here. This moderate income offer is listed there, 90% up to $4,500. And other incomes can get that $600 a rebate back. One other thing I want to show you here is this partner offers section of the website. This shows what your utility and other partners may have available for you, in addition to what the calculator has showed you as kind of like the high level snapshot. So if you're a Burlington Electric customer, you can see up to $1,000. If you live in a community served by a VIPSA utility, VIPSA, the Vermont Public Power Supply Authority, you can get an additional rebate. And Washington Electric customers can also get a rebate for replacing a fossil fuel water heater. So if we go back to the tool, go back to our presentation, you can kind of see this slide collects all the different offers, the low income offer, moderate income offer, and the higher income offer, and some of the additional offers from utilities. Once again, I just want to emphasize, the tool will give you that high level snapshot. It's really helpful to visit those links each offer presents to learn the details about income and other offers that might be available to you. All right, we're going to do another example here. This one gets a little more complicated because this is heat pump territory. We could do an entire hour on heat pumps and understanding the differences of the different types of heat pumps and what's most suitable to your home. In fact, VECAN did a webinar in January with some of my colleagues here at Efficiency Vermont to do just that. So if you really want to go into detail about the types of heat pumps and what you should know about these different types of technologies, I really recommend you take a look at that webinar that we did in January, Heat Pumps 101. And Dan, I'm sure if folks need that link, you'd be able to provide that. It's linked here in the slides that you'll get after this presentation. But briefly, the types of heat pumps we're talking about are ducted and ductless. Those might make sense if your home has ducts in them. You might be a good candidate for a ducted heat pump if they are ductless. Meaning you don't have any existing ductwork in your home for your heating system, a ductless heat pump would be great for you. There's geothermal heat pumps, there's air to water heat pumps. These are much more specialized based on what your home might already have or might require significant investment to make them work, like a geothermal. So we're going to really just focus on ductless and ducted heat pumps. So first, you'll want to understand what type of heat pump you want for your home. We're going to, again, focus on ducted and ductless. It's usually the most suitable for what we see in Vermont. You want to understand the types of rebates that this tool is going to show you for a heat pump. You'll see instant rebates. Those are the rebates that happen immediately based on just you bought the technology, and it will vary a little bit depending on how big your home is and how big the equipment is. If you have a smaller home, you don't need as strong a system as a 3-story home, for example. So you'll see how those can change. You'll also see some income-based bonuses for these heat pumps. You'll see post-purchase rebates from utilities, and we'll also briefly look at some of these tax incentives. So I'm going to pose this question. If we look at ducted heat pumps, how much can you save on a ducted heat pump? You can see on the slide there, those blue circles kind of showing you the instant rebates, those upfront rebates. And then there's some income bonuses, and they give you the high level income bonus from Green Mountain Power. So with that in mind, let's turn back to the tool and see what details we can learn from the calculator on heat pumps. So I'm going to deselect water heater. I'm going to go to heating, ventilation, and cooling. And I'm going to go back to my hometown of Winooski here, Green
Matthew,
Mountain Power.
I'll note you're on the presentation.
Thank you, Dan.
Yep.
It's that switching between the presentation and the tool online. So apologies, folks. Thanks for the note, Dan. So I'm going to punch in an income of $60,000 and see what options I can get. So this should be similar to the slide we just saw. But again, we're going to focus on ducted heat pumps. I can see up to $2,000 for a ducted heat pump system. And I can see that income rebate for GMP customers. So if I visit this website, I know this is going to take me to the Efficiency Vermont website. This should be a little familiar to what we saw from the last example. First thing I notice is that link on the calculator just said up to 2,000, but here it says starting at 1,000. What's the deal with that? Well, let's scroll down and see what those differences are. We'll click eligibility here again. And you can see, like I mentioned, this is the tonnage of a system. Tonnage is basically how much heat the heat pump can move in an hour. The more tonnage, the more air it can heat or cool. And this is, again, based on the size of your home. If you have a bigger home, you might need a larger system. Larger systems cost more money, so there's a higher dollar amount for the rebate. Smaller system for a smaller home would obviously not require as much equipment, so it will cost less, and there is slightly less money available for those discounts. So that's kind of that instant rebate and why it might be different depending on what you need for your home. We also have the income bonuses. So Green Mountain Power, we saw up to 2,200. This is where that rebate comes in. It's low income only. So Green Mountain Power, low income customers. This is $2,000 from Green Mountain Power and $200 from Efficiency Vermont, all low income households. If you're not a Green Mountain Power customer, all other moderate and low income households can get that $200 Efficiency Vermont rebate. Again, that's based on income. And we'll just take a quick look at partner offers for ducted heat pumps. So again, we see utilities offer additional rebates. Burlington Electric has a sizable one. If you're in a municipality served by VIPSA, there's actually two, one for weatherizing your home before a heat pump and one for an income bonus rebate. And other Vermont utilities have other rebates on top of what we've seen in the tool. So again, just emphasizing, you can really learn more about these rebates and what you might be eligible for by clicking through with those links and seeing what's on offer. I'm going to pop back to our slides here. I'm going to remember to actually hit the share button so you can go back and see the slides. So yeah, we've just seen these rebates in the tool, $2,000 instant rebate for a ducted system, up to $2,200 income bonus. And those income bonuses and other bonuses will be different depending on your utility. This is a slide just to show you what a ducted heat pump system looks like. It kind of looks like a traditional air conditioner. It sits outside your home and you can see it plugs into the ductwork. So it provides heating and cooling. All heat pumps are essentially air conditioners that run in reverse. So that's another great benefit of them. They bring some cooling to your home. We can also look at what kind of options would be available if we wanted to go for a ductless system. So again, depending on the size of your home and the power of the heat pump system, you might see a larger or smaller rebate. $450 instant rebate for a larger ductless system. It's about $350 for a smaller ductless system. You see that same income bonus from Green Mountain Power, and there are some other rebates based on your utility. That's just an example of a ductless heat pump system there. So again, those are great for rooms in your home that might not be connected to a central ducting system, or if you have no ductwork, you can put several of these or one of these in your home, and they can really provide a lot of great heating and cooling. So just to recap, when you plug in these heat pump rebates, there's quite a lot. And it's really important to not just see what's in the tool, in the calculator, but to click through and see some of the details of the size of the heat pump system, the income bonus from Efficiency Vermont or from some of the other utilities, some of the weatherization bonuses, and there are tax bonuses and credits to consider. I know this is a lot to consider for a heat pump. The folks on the phone at Efficiency Vermont are here to kind of answer your questions and kind of get a sense of what's available and suitable for your home. So getting on the phone for one of those virtual home energy visits is a great way to kind of figure out which one's most suitable for you. One last example I want to show you folks is induction stoves and cooktops. This is an example of technology that Efficiency Vermont doesn't really have any offers for. There's no statewide offer. The offers that are available are from very specific utilities. So you can see in this slide, 3 utilities in Vermont offer rebates for these induction stoves. They're not income dependent. So you get the technology, you can get the rebate. The one thing to keep in mind, there's a lot of discussion about the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, and when some of that money might be coming to Vermont, and if it would support additional rebates on induction stoves or any of these technologies. The short answer is we don't know. About $58 million is coming to the state of Vermont for weatherization and electrification. Each state has to kind of decide how it will spend that money and tell the Department of Energy, these are our plans. Well, in Vermont, that $58 million is with the Department of Public Service. They actually had a meeting last week to kind of get public input on their early plans for these funds. But unfortunately, we won't know the details of exactly how they are planning to spend these funds and if it means rebates for the public until they submit those plans. So I know there's a lot of anticipation. A lot of folks at Efficiency Vermont are anticipating information too. But for right now, we're waiting to see what our Department of Public Service has to say. One last slide before we open it up to a few questions here. If you choose electric vehicles in the calculator, a lot of the tools, a lot of the links, I should say, will go to Drive Electric Vermont. It's kind of a clearinghouse for all sorts of information on electric vehicles in Vermont. It will break down federal incentives, state incentives, including some unique programs that help you trade in an existing gas car for an EV. There's utility rebates. Those are incentives like, a check, but it's also other bonuses like a free EV charger, for example, from Green Mountain Power. That's for you to get wired up at your home. There's also information about the types of EVs available, the dealerships that sell them, where you can charge publicly, electric bikes, all sorts of stuff. And then a couple income-dependent programs that offer substantial rebates for folks looking to swap from a gas car to a more efficient vehicle. And if you're in Burlington, there is a great high mileage driver program from Burlington Electric. So I see some folks writing stuff down. These slides and these links will all be available after the presentation, but just wanted to give a quick overview of what the Drive Electric options are in the tool. And before we dive into some other Efficiency Vermont programs, I just want to open it up to any questions that might have come in.
I'm not seeing any in the chat, Matthew, but I know Allison had her hand up briefly there. I don't know, Allison, do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just thinking ahead. So I'm on the Bristol Energy Committee and just kind of thinking how we could share some of this information, you know, with people in our town. Like we have an event in September, and I'm just trying to think of the best way that we could maybe share that. And I wonder if there was any, like, I mean, we could have our laptop there and, you know, try to show people, but I'm just wondering, are there any like things that we could print off from the Efficiency Vermont website that would, or could we take some of this information and just make it into maybe a little card or something that we could hand people at an event?
Well, Allison, I will say I love the idea of, you know, having someone there with a laptop to kind of let somebody use the tool themselves and enter their specific use case. Later on, I am going to share some ways to both share the tool, but also some resources Efficiency Vermont has, whether it's requesting tabling at an event, or we have a website with printable flyers, one-page PDFs, and you can print those and they're instant handouts. They're very readable. They're designed to be print out and kind of, they cover like a one page for electric vehicles, a one page for heat pumps, a one page for financing, all that stuff. So bear with us, Allison. We'll get some resources for you.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Sure. Thanks for the question. Any others, Dan, or should I keep rolling?
I'm not seeing any others, so I would just keep going.
Great. Well, we've got some more room for Q&A at the end. So I'm just going to go on to my next slide here and just talk a bit about some of the things that are kind of electrification friendly, say, but might not show up in the tool. They're not about electrification, but they support electrification. These are things that will help you kind of realize electrification in your life, or in some cases, things that will help you do any kind of project with financing support, things like that. So first, we talked about energy coaching. We talked about those virtual home energy visits, that one-on-one phone call or walkthrough of your home. We also have on-the-phone energy advisors. They're available during normal business hours in Vermont. You get folks who here in Vermont answering the phone, who know what the situation is, can talk you through where you can find a hardware store or a retailer or a contractor in your area. So that's a great resource. Virtual home energy visits we had discussed. There's also financial and energy coaching from our partners at Green Saving Smart. This will help you kind of, maybe you need some help working out a household budget. They've got apps and educational programs for that. Maybe you want to start putting some money away each week towards an energy project. They'll help you kind of plan out your budget for that. It's really just a comprehensive learning strategy for folks. And we also have our Efficiency Excellence Network of contractors. They can give you great advice and tips on starting some of these projects and getting these technologies into your home. So about that Efficiency Excellence Network, or as we call it, the EEN, it's a statewide trade group of more than 600 licensed and insured independent contractors. So they work on efficiency projects like weatherization, clean technology like heat pumps, and electrification, like all of the above, I suppose. And they work all over the state. We've got EEN members in all 14 counties in a bunch of different trades, from electricians to plumbers to insulation to heat pump installers. They're also trained to consider important household safety components of a project. Like if you're getting your home weatherized, it's not just about weatherization, but it's ensuring good airflow, good indoor air quality, ventilation. If you have an old wet basement like I do in my 100+ year old house, they'll help you figure out a way to resolve some of the moisture issues in your basement. There are some things that only EEN members, some projects that only EEN members can help you with. For example, I've mentioned some low and no interest home financing, or I should say financing for home energy projects. Those are projects only available to EEN members. And if you ever want to find an EEN member, you can use the Find a Pro tool on our website. So I just mentioned that financing, financing a project is a way to see those savings immediately, but you've got to overcome those upfront costs to get weatherization or an electric heating system in your home. Financing is one way to do that. There's a couple of different options from Efficiency Vermont. We have a home energy loan, and we also have what we call RAP, the Weatherization Repayment Assistance Program, which basically takes your monthly payment and puts it on your utility bill, either electric or gas. The home energy loan has some really great 0% interest financing for certain loans of certain length and certain time, certain amount and certain time, I should say. And really, what's more suitable for you, RAP or a home energy loan? It really depends on what type of project you're thinking about doing, what kind of interest rates are available, and the term, how long your loan would be for. But you can use all of the rebates that the calculator points you to and Efficiency Vermont offers in one of these financing projects. So it's a great complement to the rebates that will help you kind of get the ball rolling. Now, we've already mentioned low and moderate income offers. Income obviously plays a big role in a lot of these programs, but there's also some programs Efficiency Vermont has specifically for low income households. You can see that we can connect you with people who will do an in-depth energy assessment of your home, really figure out how you're using energy and how you can improve the efficiency. You can get some reduced or free products like an LED light bulb kit with some ways you can reduce water usage with a new shower head, for example. That energy assessment can also give you a voucher for a free Energy Star appliance to replace an older one that might not be as efficient. And if you're currently heating your home or your hot water with electricity, there is an opportunity for low-income households to get those systems replaced with a new electric heating and hot water system. Again, these are all for low-income households, just extra help that's available beyond the rebates that we've discussed so far. We've been talking a lot about projects that really homeowners might want to consider because they're able to make those decisions around how they heat their home or how their hot water is made or whether they're going to insulate or not. But Efficiency Vermont, for equity purposes, we really want to make offers available to everyone in Vermont, and that includes renters. So renters can also qualify for these free products like a package of LED light bulbs and low flow shower heads and faucet aerators. If the laundry unit, clothes washer dryer, or a combo unit is in the unit, renters can qualify for Energy Star certified replacements that use heat pumps for those. There's also rebates for a window AC unit for renters, dehumidifiers, and renters can also take advantage of that do-it-yourself weatherization offer. And we also have some options for rental property owners. So if you have property that you rent out, whether it's a room in your house or several rental properties, there are great options to get these efficient technologies into the hands of rental property owners so they can help their tenants realize some of the efficiency savings. A couple other appliances that might not show up in the tool. We've mentioned window air conditioners, clothes dryers. These are for homeowners or renters. Combination washer dryer units, especially dryers that use heat pump technology, and dehumidifiers. So a couple more options for these appliances on our website. We've talked about VIPSA members. This year, Efficiency Vermont is offering some bonus rebates that come for Vermonters who are under a VIPSA member utility, there's a list of those utilities on the right-hand side of your screen. So these are additional savings on appliances, additional bonuses on heat pumps, additional bonuses on that DIY weatherization, and additional money for a whole home weatherization bonus. So if you're served by a VIPSA member utility, you can go to that link right there, efficiencyvermont.com/VIPSA, and you can kind of see the details of what those offers are and how you can qualify. One thing that is not in the tool and is decidedly not electric, but an important thing to cover is wood heat. Efficiency Vermont has some great programs for wood and pellet stoves, as well as central wood and pellet furnaces and boilers. These are highly efficient systems, usually 80% efficient, much more efficient than the traditional wood stove that you might be familiar with. You can see there's up to $400 available for a new wood or pellet stove, up to $6,000 for wood pellet boilers or furnaces. Those are central heating systems. And if you're in Windham County, there's a very lucrative offer there, up to $8,000 for some of these newer, super efficient wood systems. So if you're in Windham County, definitely something to consider. And electrify other parts of your life as well. On Efficiency Vermont's website, you can see links to electric lawn care, everything from a ride-on mower to a push mower to a weed whacker, all sorts of other electric lawn care equipment. There's grow lights, LED, indoor commercial lighting for, indoor residential lighting for growing herb gardens and your spring starts and things like that. Just want to emphasize these are not for commercial growers. If you have commercial growing needs, Efficiency Vermont can get you in touch with the right people there. Also, smart thermostats kind of help control with some planning some of the efficient appliances in your home. So that's a lot. We're here to talk about this tool, and I just kind of took you on a detour of all these great offers from Efficiency Vermont that are not necessarily about the tool. But I'm going to hand this back to my colleague, Amanda, to tell you a bit about how you can share the tool with people you work with in your community.
Thanks, Matt. Oh, we're at your screensaver now.
Apologies for the Calvin and Hobbes. I'll get this show started. There you go.
Thank you. So on this slide, there are two options to get the calculator on your website if you'd like. Allison, maybe this goes to your question of how you can share this tool and make it available to more folks. So you can copy and paste the link to Efficiency Vermont's calculator page. I will put both options in the chat so you have them. Or you can embed the calculator tool into your website so that it becomes your tool. So you would do that by, the first step is to copy and paste the necessary code script and style sheet into the back end of your website. In the step-by-step document, that information is there, highlighted in gray. And you replace your key here with your actual API key. The second step is adjusting the layout and colors of the website. Ensure that the widget is on a light colored background. That's recommended. Make the widget as wide as the page or as close to it as possible for optimal layout. Then there's an option for setting the language to English or Spanish. So EN for English, ES for Spanish, and you can set the language using the lang attribute. An optional step 3 is to restrict it to a specific state. So in the state parameter, you use the two-letter state abbreviation VT for Vermont. Then you want to check the coverage and examples. So like Matt said, the calculator covers federal incentives nationwide and specific state utility and local incentives in some states. So you'll want to visit some live previews for Rhode Island, Vermont, DC, and just see what you want to be covered, whether it's both federal and state incentives and local ones or just state. And then by following those steps, you can effectively integrate the Rewiring America state calculator into your website. You can customize it and provide your users with valuable incentive information. And like I said, the embed information is in the chat. So you can go to that document and it should guide you through what I just did. Back to you, Matt.
Thank you, Amanda. Again, if you don't capture some of those links in the chat, Dan is going to send out these slides, and these links are live. So when you get these slides, you can click them and it'll take you to the right place. And I've already seen some town energy committees that have embedded the tool on their website, and it's kind of cool to just see, make that website more helpful for the folks visiting to kind of see exactly what they can use without having to leave that website. So I'm going to close here, folks, with just a few ways to stay in touch with Efficiency Vermont. And Allison, these are some links that will be especially helpful for you because I know you had wanted some of these online resources. So step one, to stay in touch, we've got some great newsletters that are designed for either individuals, for residential projects, commercial businesses, but also maybe you're on your town energy committee and you want to know what kind of upcoming events or trainings or things like that might be available. We have some of those partner organizations with the EVT Insider is a great partner newsletter to sign up for. This partner resources page can give you those one-page printouts, Allison, that I had mentioned. This is something that's great for tabling at a community event. It's a single page PDF front and back, can tell you a lot of what we covered here, but in a very user-friendly, readable way. And it's great to print up a couple copies and let people take them home, think about it, figure out how they want to proceed. And if you're planning an event, Efficiency Vermont has an event in the box. We'll send you a box with everything you need for that event to talk about energy efficiency. You can call us and request one of those. If you'd rather have somebody table for Efficiency Vermont, you can get in touch with the email address there or that 188 number, 1888 number rather, and we'll do our best to see if we can accommodate your request. So that's a great way to get Efficiency Vermont out to an event in your community. And my last slide here is what's next? You know, we just went through the incentive calculator. We learned about why we should electrify. We learned about some options from Efficiency Vermont that might not show up in the calculator. The next step really is kind of what I said at the beginning, that virtual home energy visit. It's free. It gets you a custom roadmap on what you can do for your home and what a big project might be and what a small next step project might be. So when you combine that with the incentive calculator, I think the virtual home energy visit is a great way to really continue that electrification journey for you or people you might be helping use this tool. You can sign up online for those virtual home energy visits or call that 888 number there. And that's it. So I'll just leave it to Dan if we have any other questions that have come in or any questions that might be on people's minds as we finish up.
Not seeing any questions in the chat. Any other questions from folks? All right, seeing none, I really appreciate all of you for joining us and learning a little bit more about the Rewiring America incentive calculator. Obviously, thank you so much to Amanda Sachs from Rewiring America for being here today, to Matthew Smith for running us through so many good slides and bringing so much information from Efficiency Vermont. And we will catch you again when we have our next webinar or our next event. Please don't hesitate to reach out to VECAN if you want to partner on figuring out ways that you can share this calculator and get this word out to your communities. And like Matthew said, Efficiency Vermont also is there whenever you need. So thanks, everyone, and have a great day.